Welcome to Comment with me, George Galloway, here on Press TV, still the voice of the voiceless. Comment is the big conversation. It can also be the great debate, but it can be neither unless I hear from you. That's why, above all, I need your telephone calls. 44208-601-4555. You call us, we'll call you back, establish a clear line, and remember, if you get on the television with me, the volume on your television has to be down at 0, or I'll have to pass swiftly on, because no one will understand either of us. You can also SMS the show on 447800008066, or you can email me at comment@presstv.co.uk. You can even send a tweet at comment_presstv. I'm going to do my best this evening to be as coldly forensic as I can be, because otherwise I might just lose my temper. And that's never a good look on television, at least not from the beginning of the show. As we speak, as I speak, as you listen, as this show goes out live, Israel has just destroyed the lives of another 18 people and wounded 200 more. And you may say, so what's new about that? They've been doing that every day and more over the last 2 weeks. What's different about it is that these refugees that they have just killed in the United Nations school in Beit Hanun in northern Gaza had fled there because Israel warned them to flee because they were about to destroy their neighborhoods. In other words, Israel warned a civilian population to leave their houses and take shelter somewhere else. That somewhere else was a school of the United Nations, the very United Nations which brought the so-called State of Israel into existence. The very United Nations where Israel still has a seat as a member state. The very United Nations that has passed hundreds of condemnatory resolutions, some of them mandatory, Chapter 7 Security Council resolutions, which have all been completely ignored. Moreover, this is the fourth United Nations building that Israel has bombed and destroyed in the last 2 weeks. So you really have to ask yourself, how long can the United Nations conceivably tolerate a situation where one of its members is destroying its own shelters and as many inside those shelters as they possibly can? This is a grave, grave matter. And if it does not elicit any kind of decisive response from the so-called international community, then I don't want to hear the words international community ever uttered by any hypocrite again. I don't want the United Nations ever to be mumbled, intoned sacredly by any hypocrite again. And moreover, this murderous rampage, which has now cost the lives of almost 800 Palestinians, 75% of them civilians, and most of them women and children, has been going on all this time. And no one has lifted a finger to stop it. Where is Malik Abdullah, the custodian of the 2 mosques? What about the 3rd mosque in Jerusalem? Haven't you anything to say? Can't you do anything? You with your trillions of dollars in American banks and stock markets. You, the biggest customer of the United States and Britain's military hardware. You have more military hardware than almost any country in the world. Where is it? For what was it? Can't you even bring yourself, dear Malik Abdullah, to even breathe the possibility that it cannot be business as usual between you and those who are backing, arming, supporting and financing this massacre of Muslims in Ramadan on Laylat al-Qadr? Can't you? Where is General Sisi, who we were told was to be the new Nasser? Can't you bring yourself to even lift a finger to come to the aid of innocent civilians being slaughtered just a couple of kilometers from your international border and by your ally with whom you are in full political and security and economic cooperation? Not only have you not lifted a finger, you have blocked the tunnels so that the Palestinian fighters fighting to defend their families being massacred can't even be resupplied by a bullet from a Bedouin who's selling the bullets on the other end of the tunnel. What's wrong with you people? What happened to the IOC, or should it be OIC? What happened to the Arab League? Where is Nawaz Sharif with his mighty Pakistani army? Can none of you even say, never mind do, anything in the face of this slaughter? And to make matters worse, much worse, the dead and the maimed continue to be mocked by the disgrace that is the British Broadcasting Corporation. Driving here this evening, having already read on the front pages online of all the major international newspapers that Israel had bombed not once but 4 times this United Nations school and killed and wounded all these people. The BBC reported tonight on the 6:30 news that it was not known whether the, quote, missiles which had destroyed the school had come from Hamas or from Israel. They were not missiles. They were tank shells. 4 tank shells. Hamas doesn't have any tanks. And moreover, the shells were packed full of illegal flechettes, iron, darts, molten hot, that spray out of the shell and murder and maim, all in range. So, tomorrow, all over the world, there will be demonstrations in the annual Al-Quds rally. On Saturday, all over the world, there will be demonstrations of millions of people. A big one in London, one I'm attending in Bradford, followed by a public meeting in Manchester in the evening. This weekend, millions will rally. What's your message to those rallies? Will you be at those rallies? Will you get out of your chair? will you get off your knees and at least do what you can to raise your voice against this barbarous, murderous, evil, wicked massacre of innocent people locked up, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide? I need your calls and your messages on this. Angelina is up first from North Wales. Welcome to the show, Angelina.
Hello.
Angelina, yes, go ahead. I'm not getting any actuality from Angelina. Is she there? Okay, let's go on until the next call comes in. We take calls from all over the world on this show, and the audience is growing and growing. They have to watch us on a computer because the British government made sure the Ofcom took us off of Sky on a trumped up, pitiful, pathetic and widely telegraphed move foretold in WikiLeaks many months before it actually happened. But people are doing so, and on select satellites. And I just want to add one or two things. There was a vote in the United Nations just this week condemning war crimes committed by the murderer Netanyahu, the child killer, the serial murderer Netanyahu. The vast majority of countries in the world voted for the motion. Britain and Ireland abstained. Abstained. Only the United States and Israel voted against. I'm lost for words. How can you abstain from setting up an inquiry into war crimes when you've seen the pictures, even if the BBC has declined to show most of them? You've seen them, yet you still abstain. The British government doesn't surprise me at all. The Irish government surprises me very much indeed. Abdul Karim is on the line from Jordan, from Amman. Abdul Karim, welcome.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, go on, you're on the air.
Good evening. Yeah, Judge, it's an honor to speak with you today, Mr. Judge, because I've been trying to come into this program. I can see today you are very angry, and I'm as much as angry as you are, because I am a very good viewer of Press TV. I've seen all the atrocities committed in Gaza. And I believe ever since there's been a war in the Middle East, this has been one of the most heinous crimes being committed by the State of Israel. And what surprised me mostly is that 2 days back, Ban Ki-moon was offering condolence to the soldiers, just 25 soldiers killed by rocket attacks, while hundreds and hundreds of children are lying dead, some of them decapitated for life, while others have no hope for the future. I just believe the United Nations is just like a puppet in the hands of the U.S. They have nothing to offer in the needs of the nations. So the Muslim world need to stand up on their feet if they need to see the end of all this heinous crime committed by Israel. There is need for the Muslim world to have a common unity and boycott any kind of economic activities with the State of Israel. Because this cannot be going on every time, especially during the month of Ramadan. There must be 1 or 2 excuses for the State of Israel to commit or to stage a war against the land of Gaza. It's too much.
Abdul, thanks for that call. Echoes very much my own views and what I said. I won't put you in any difficulty by asking you if there's going to be an Al-Quds rally in Amman tomorrow, by asking you if the populace of Jordan will be on the streets on Saturday like most of the rest of the world, because I already know the answer. Aisha is in London. Aisha, welcome to the show.
Hello?
Yes, you're on the air.
Yeah, hi. So, Judge Galloway, yes.
I just have a message for the Arab leaders. I am a woman who has never been part of any political rally, any political movement ever. And this time, I feel as if this has become so personal. This has become so personal to me. This is an oppression. There was a time when, as a child, I would think that if I were there present at the time of the Nazis, I would have stopped what was happening to the Jews. I would have stopped the assassination of Kennedy. All of those people who thought that, look at the suppression that is happening now. We have to unite. To the Arab leaders, you are sitting on your giant backsides, forking out huge sums of cash, not saying a thing, because you are worried about the Muslim Brotherhood and the fact that Hamas is in cahoots with them. The Muslim Brotherhood is known for working towards trying to overthrow these regimes that have set up camp. I am not a spokesman for them. I have just read up so much in these past few weeks that I have understood why this is happening now. You are sitting quietly. Think, Abdullah bin Abdulaziz, I am speaking to you directly. Think of what Shah Faisal would have done. Sheikh Mohammed from Dubai, Sheikh Mohammed of Sheikh Khalifa from Abu Dhabi. I am asking you, think of what Sheikh Zayed would have done. Think of what Sheikh Rashid would have done. They would not have sold Palestine. Where is your soul? The enemy is open. We know who the enemy is. But you are Muslims. You read the Quran. Are you not fearing the wrath of Allah? These people, they are oppressed and they are speaking to Allah at the time of Ramadan. Think of what you have to do and the fact you will have to answer for them, each and every one of those oppressed people. And for Hamas, the one thing, yes, I don't know the entire history of Hamas. Yes, they have had their flaws as well. But at this point in time, they are a democratically elected party. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sir Galloway.
No, you're right.
Exactly. So, BBC, for everything, for all your completely with your idea of depicting this picture without any bias. Out of respect for that, stop calling them militants. They are actually defending. They are the army now. They are not militants anymore.
No, they are the legitimate armed forces.
Exactly.
Of
you
the
cannot
Palestinian
call them militants
people.
anymore. I am not one for condoning the killing of the 3 teenagers. No. But there has been not a shred of evidence that has implicated Hamas. Hamas has never shied in the past of any aggression.
Aisha, we have to make 2 points on this. First of all, these 3 teenagers were cruelly murdered in the West Bank.
Exactly.
These hundreds and thousands who've been killed and maimed are being killed and maimed in Gaza. There is a wire fence separating Gaza from everywhere else on the earth. So nobody in Gaza had anything to do with the murder of 3 teenagers in the West Bank. Secondly, not a scintilla of evidence has been produced linking that crime with Hamas. In any case, I don't care about Hamas. I don't myself support Hamas. I don't even like Hamas. I would never vote for Hamas. But the people who are defending their families, their land, their religion, their dignity in Gaza tonight, from whichever party they come, deserve the respect and the prayers of every faithful person around the world. Wa salam. Thank you very much for a wonderful call. Hamid is in Rotterdam, in the Netherlands. Hamid, welcome.
Hello, George. Good evening.
Good evening to you, sir.
George, today is my first time of calling you. I'm your fan for, I think, 5 years, watching your show every week.
Thank you.
And George, I really pray for you every day. May God bless you, give you long life, give you Jannah, because what you are doing is a jihad,
Thank you, brother.
We don't want to lose you. I pray to God, may God give you long life. But I have 2 questions today.
Inshallah.
Go
ahead, brother, yeah.
My question is, where is the ISL? Where is the Takfiris? Where are the Jabhat al-Nusra? I know what they are doing is wrong. But if really truly they are fighting for jihad in the cause of Allah, why would they go help the Palestine? I know what they're doing is wrong, I know. But if really true, they are doing this for Allah, jihad, as a real Muslims, why don't they throw a bullet in Israel map or do something, you know?
Well, they have never done anything for Palestine. But they are carrying slogans. I saw one the other day. The only good Shiite is a headless Shiite. But the weapons with which the resistance are defending their families and their land in Gaza this evening, all of those weapons, all of them, came from Shiites. So that tells you either that this ISIL, ISIS, Caliphate, or whatever they have declared themselves to be, are either fools or fakes. You can choose which. Francesco is in Denmark. Let's hear from Francesco. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, please. Good evening, Mr. Galloway.
Good evening, sir.
I want to talk about Gaza.
Yeah.
And normally, U.S. try to say we are about human rights, and the U.S. can stop this war right now if they stop the aid for Israel.
Yes, sure.
I mean,
the U.S. could stop the war right now, Francesco.
Right now.
But we both know that the U.S. is not going to, because the U.S. openly and has declared over decades absolutely supports the settler state that they call Israel. But there's other people who could stop the war right now, Francesco. Saudi Arabia could stop the war right now. As that young lady was saying on the phone just a few moments ago, King Faisal was very clear in 1973 that he could not continue business as usual, pumping the oil, investing the money, buying the weapons and goods from Western countries, whilst Al-Quds, Al-Aqsa was under attack and being seized by the allies of those Western friends of his. And so he said, we will produce no more oil as long as this massacre continues. The oil is stopped. We will not produce another barrel until this massacre is stopped by those who could stop it. Am I right, Francesco?
Right. But I would ask you one thing. If those children in Palestine was a Western children,
yeah.
What about if it was Obama children? What about if it was European, UK, Cameroon children? They will allow the Israel killed by F-16.
No, they would not.
Gaza?
No, they would not. Because for them, the blood of Westerners and Israelis is more valuable than the blood of Arabs and Muslims. You already know that. So let's stop wishing that people who hate us are going to save us, and ask those who claim to love us when they're going to do something to show their love. That's my point. Darren, you're on quickly before the break. Go ahead.
Hello there, George. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yeah, I'm just phoning to say I will be there tomorrow at the Al-Quds Day March in London, and I will be there on Saturday to support Palestine, to support the resistance, and inshallah we will be strong. We will take over, and the resistance will prevail. Palestine
I'll tell you one thing, Darren. The resistance will never be defeated. And the children of those who have been slain, and their children after them, will still be the resistance. Israel is not solving any of its problems by this murderous rampage. and the children of those slain will be more radical, more determined, and harder to deal with than their fathers and mothers who have been killed. I'll be right back in 3 minutes, God willing. Welcome back to Comment, the big conversation, the great debate here from Press TV, still the voice of the voiceless. We're talking, of course, about Gaza, about the sea, the ocean of blood now flowing in this tiny territory, 24 miles long and 4.5 miles wide, in which almost 2 million people, almost all of them refugees, are trapped behind barbed wire and machine gun towers in order to be killed like fish in a barrel. No one is opening the gates. No one is lifting a finger. And the United Nations appears oblivious, absolutely sanguine about their own schools and shelters being remorselessly bombed and destroyed, along with scores of people inside them. There's 18 now dead in the school in Beit Hanun, to which the refugees fled after Israel ordered them to flee, to shelter, like the one that they have now destroyed. So there are demonstrations all over the world tomorrow, the annual Al-Quds rally. I want to know what your message will be to those rallies. And the next day, Saturday, there are demonstrations which everyone should join all over the world. What will your message be to these rallies? I have a caller on the line, another Aisha, in fact, in the United Kingdom. Aisha, welcome.
Assalamu alaikum, George.
Wa alaikum salam. Welcome to the show.
Oh, well, thank you very much, George. First of all, I would like to say that I highly respect everything you do. You are a true person. You're fighting for everyone, and humanity in itself. So for that, I will have to give you my utmost respect.
Thank you.
Second of all, what I'm seeing for the last couple of weeks is nothing compared to what's been going on for the last 60 years in Palestine and what the Israelis, the Zionists have done in Palestine. I cannot believe that the UN will just stand there and watch child after child get murdered, slaughtered. Live on TV, you can see these things happening, and the UN just sit there and do nothing about it. The amount of regulations that Israel has broken, the UN resolutions, and they just sit there and allow the bombings of their own schools and their own buildings. Why? I can't understand why the UN ain't doing nothing about it.
Well, the United States vetoes any Security Council resolution critical of Israel, and Britain, and usually France, also veto it, and are ready also to veto it. So it's not possible to get anything through the Security Council. But Ban Ki-moon is not an elected official, or at least he doesn't come up for election. He is the Secretary General. Can he not find the vocabulary? I mean, I don't actually ever understand anything he's saying, but can't he get someone to write a statement that is unequivocal, that Israel will have to pay a political price for the deliberate bombardment? Let's be clear about this, nothing accidental about it. 1, 2, 3, 4 shells landed on the UN shelter school in Beit Hanun. That something will have to be done. I'm expecting the United Nations to do nothing, because as you rightly say, Palestine has been occupied for more than 65 years. And for more than 65 years, it has been tolerated that a state brought into being by the United Nations could treat the United Nations with unalloyed, absolute contempt. So I'm back to where I started, Aisha. I'm struggling, like you, in Britain, to try and change the situation in Britain. I'm struggling to try and change the stand of the United Nations. But I'm asking myself, where are the Arabs? This is the shoe that didn't drop, the dog that didn't bark. This is the biggest question in this picture. Because even if the United Nations did nothing, even if Britain never changed, even if the United States never fell out of love with Israel, the Arabs could free the Palestinian people by themselves and in a week, by simply making a declaration that they will produce and sell no more oil. And for anyone who thinks I'm a dreamer, the King Faisal of Saudi Arabia already did it and had the result of bringing to an end the Israeli advance in the war of October 1973. So I'm asking, I don't like to beg, but I'm begging Malik Abdullah, the custodian of the two mosques, I'm begging you, Your Majesty, do something. Khalid is on the line in Berlin. Khalid, go ahead.
Hello?
Khalid, you're on the air. Turn your TV down.
Hello?
Yes, turn your television down, please.
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah, go on.
Yes, I want to ask you why the Hezbollah in South Lebanon not acting now immediately. Then I fear that the next come maybe Hezbollah, and I hope that the resistance maybe is stronger when Hezbollah is now in the game. Can you answer this question?
No, I don't speak for Hezbollah. I have nothing to do with them. I have no authority to answer such a question, but I can hazard a guess. And my guess would be that Hezbollah has been sucked into the vortex of the hideous, disfiguring, sectarian war in Syria and now also in Iraq. I don't know if Hezbollah has the capacity within range of the Zionist state to enter this war and to deal with the consequences of entering it. And who's to blame for that? The people who've ripped Syria and Iraq apart for sectarian purposes. That's who's to blame for that. Khalid in Berlin, thanks for the call and the question. I'm not answerable for Hezbollah, but I think it's a bit much raising a complaint about them when they're actually the only people who have ever defeated the Israeli army on the battlefield and have shown themselves absolutely faithful allies of the Palestinian people all of these years. Where do you think the people in Gaza got their weapons? I'll tell you where they got their weapons. They got them from Hezbollah and they got them from Iran. That's my message to the sectarian idiots out there. None of these regimes that call themselves, though I myself would never agree to the description, but call themselves Sunni governments, never done telling us about the perfidy of Shiism. The only people who have come to the aid of the Palestinian people are Iran, Hezbollah, and the Syrian regime before it too was dragged into the vortex. Let's talk to Aviva in Pakistan. Aviva, welcome to the show.
Hi, good evening, Sir George Galloway.
Good evening, welcome.
My highest respect to you, sir, for the work that you're doing, and I stand by each and every word that you say.
Thank you, madam.
I'm calling from Pakistan, and I live in a country where my people are also being oppressed by the tyrants, our corrupt government leaders, and I'm not into politics or anything. I'm a common citizen, a common civilian, and I'm getting frustrated with the situation that's in my country and what's happening around the world. And I'm extremely ashamed of the entire Muslim community. We don't realize what we've done wrong, that we're having to deserve all that we're going through or that we've been put through. I think my message tomorrow in the Al-Quds rally, which I will be going, is we Muslims need to ask for forgiveness from the Almighty and repent for the sins that we've done and get united to stand up against the tyrants of the world and show the world that we are united and we will not be oppressed. I mean, watching all that's happening in Gaza for the past 17 days, I mean, it is so depressing that we don't feel like eating, we don't feel like drinking, I don't feel like going out anywhere. I've even seen that even Eid coming up in a couple of days, I don't wish to celebrate Eid. Why is all this happening? Why are we so oppressed?
Well, sister,
These
that's
Arabs,
a very...
they're sitting in their great palaces over there. They have money to spend on horse races. They have money to arrange football matches. They don't have money to support their brothers. Is this not hypocrisy?
Well, there's no answer to the question you pose. Or at least we already know, all of us, everyone listening to this, and everyone throughout the Muslim world knows the answer to the questions that you pose so brilliantly and with such innocence and integrity. And I'm much moved by your call. They have great armies and navies. And let me tell you a little anecdote. I was in Beirut in 1982 with Arafat when Israel arrived in overwhelming force and besieged the capital. And at one point, Gaddafi lectured Arafat. He said, "Why don't you commit suicide before leaving Beirut?" He said, "Allowing Israel into Beirut is like allowing someone into your wife's bedroom." Arafat answered Gaddafi, "Where are you with your great army, with your navy, with your air force? Where are the Arabs with their armies and their navies and their air forces? If you came to our rescue, we wouldn't have to commit suicide and we wouldn't have to leave Beirut." Who can answer that? No one. Aviva in Pakistan, may God bless you. And all those who attend the Al-Quds Day rally in Pakistan and around the world. The London one is gathering at the BBC in Portland Place and marching to the American Embassy in Grosvenor Square. I'm not yet sure, but someone will tell me in my ear what time that demonstration is, and I'll announce it to you by the end of the show. So, what do you have to say? What is your message to the local Al-Quds rally? What is your message to the rallies on Saturday, which will be taking place also all over the world? By the way, the London times for the Al-Quds rally are from 3 p.m. until 7 p.m. Ibrahim is on the line, and I've kept him waiting too long in South Africa. Go ahead, Ibrahim.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, go ahead.
I have the question for the Egypt. Why the Egypt didn't allow to go to the innocent people to go to the hospital? Why the Egypt president doing with us like this?
Because Egypt is governed by a military junta, slaves to the United States of America and Israel. And this is the reason they got rid of Morsi. Not because Morsi was useless, he was useless. Not because Morsi didn't make every mistake that could possibly be made, he did make every mistake that could possibly be made. But they got rid of Morsi so they could put in this stooge, this military stooge with his hat and his uniform emblazoned with medals. Earned how? I have no idea. They put him there so that he would be a reliable ally when they massacred the Palestinian people across the fence in Gaza. That's the truth of the matter, Ibrahim. I'm pressing on because Iran is calling. Ruhollah on the line in Iran. You're welcome. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. You're welcome. George Galloway, how are you?
Well, I'm not so good. I'm feeling the pain of all this, but go ahead.
Yeah, of course, Dad. Everybody's like feeling that. Yeah. Actually, I'm suggesting new ideas for helping Palestinian people.
Excellent.
If it's no problem to say that, okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I suggest the minds of the people all around the world to 3 elements for helping Palestinian people, 3 ways. 1, the people of the world should know that they should pray. They ask God, they worship, you know that? They ask God for the Savior. They ask God for spread of the right and the dismantle of evil all around the world. The first step is this. The world must be clarified that everything is in the hand of God. And this is the first step. But the praying is not only that actually not doing anything, just, for example, sitting in your home and not doing anything. No, it needs actions. Actions like your program. Your program is just doing the right thing. It's doing for the Palestinians. It's doing against the evil. Or having, for example, not buying or not purchasing Zionist products. This is a very important step that Iranian people are doing this. Me, myself, never buying Nokia, cell phones or whatever that a Zionist regime produces, the Israel produces. Or illuminating the actually minds of the people all around the world. You know, this is another job that your program is doing. So, illuminating that the right thing is to actually do the jobs for the Palestinian people. This is all about just to support the idea that the Palestine is right and the Israel is the wrong. But about the benefits, I'm participating in the benefits tomorrow, inshallah. In the Iranian people are the pioneers, have been all the time the pioneers of participating in the rallies. But maybe the world may not understand, may not know, the people of the world, what are the benefits to participate in the rallies? What are the benefits? Maybe this is a question in their mind. I say that the benefits of the rallies are that the first benefit is that God will respond to the people's requests when he sees the actions of the people, when he sees that the hearts of the people are for some other group of people. You know that? This is the first benefit. The second benefit is that the world will understand the importance of this act, the importance of this deepness of the cruelty against the humanity. It's not only about Islam, it's about the humanity. They are killing people all in Palestine, the West Bank, okay? It was just the things I would just tell about...
well, it's been very helpful. It's been a very powerful call, and I'm happy to endorse everything that you said. I would just add this, and this is how I put it. I say I don't know what the impact will be of the marches and demonstrations that I go on and I organize and speak at until I can speak no more. I can't guarantee victory, but I can guarantee defeat if we don't fight. If you fight, you can't be sure to win. But if you don't fight, you can be sure to lose. And in any case, on the last day, when we're all asked what we did, when we're asked what we did when the Palestinians were being massacred, I will at least, as will many others listening to this, be able to say that every breath that God gave me, I expended it to try and stop the crimes being committed. There's been a record number of callers this evening, and 68% of the calls we've broadcast have been new callers. And that's the kind of exponential growth that I want to see continuing. Barry in Norway will have to be the last caller. Barry, welcome to the show. Barry?
Hello, Mr. George.
Yes, hello, sir. Go ahead.
Hey, this is Cherno from Norway again, Barry.
You're very welcome, Barry. Go ahead.
I just want the world to know I got a very, very important, how to call it, message to extend this, to the whole world, that people to be aware of. You see, George, we are tired and sick of listening to these so-called superpowers, America, Israel, Britain, and their allies calling Hamas to be terrorist groups. Do they forget how Israel become Israel? Let me just recall their memories. Let me just remind them that in the year 1941 to 1948, after the World War II, 259 terrorist attacks were conducted by a Jewish terrorist. They got various organizations by the names of Ignun, Stone Gang, Haganah. The famous bombing on the 22nd of July 1946 of King David Hotel.
Indeed, 93, I think, British citizens were killed in that attack.
Yes.
Barry, forgive me. I want to take one last caller for 30 seconds. Sahu Jayed in New York City. Go ahead, New York.
Hi, sir. Here's Dr. Ali again. Thank you so much for giving me time, and it's like an honor again to speaking to you.
Okay.
I would say Gaza is a shame on the humanity, the so-called people who are working for humanity, and they are hypocrites. And I thank you to diverting the hypocrisy of corporate media. I would say shame on the UN, shame on the US, UK, and the so-called people who speak about, the human rights. And my message on Al-Quds rally is that if we are strong and we resist, we would win. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And you've given me just a very short time to sum up what has been a fantastic discussion this evening. On this momentous evening, where the crimes of the settler state, the murder gangs of the Zionist ideology, who have been on a murderous rampage, almost unprecedented in scale and ferocity and cruelty. They talk about asymmetric warfare. The Zionist state has the very latest and best fighter planes, bombers, rockets, shells. They have thousands and thousands of tanks. They have a mighty navy. They have hundreds of undeclared, illegally held nuclear weapons. They have all this. They have the support of the United States of America so that they can do all of this. It's too extreme, even obscene, to watch all of the footage that we have and could show you now. Israel has all of that, but it is hated and hated and hated by more and more and more people all over the world. If people could find a way to get back at them, to boycott them, to divest from them, to take sanctions against them, to shout against their injustice in their face, they would do so. Nobody loves Israel anymore. People still move for Israel, but not out of love. That's why I say their days are numbered. And the fighters of the Palestinian resistance have my salute this evening.
Hello, if you comment your name and a place, you that number. And just make sure that your celebrity volume is set to 0. So maybe 0, 0. Can you spell your name for me? Yeah, I know. You redirect me, put through the phone number, and then we'll call you back. Comment. And then I can have your telephone number. Okay, so